Costa from Citizens Eye, and we're here at County Hall, Leicestershire County Council's home, for Equality and Diversity Week. Today at lunchtime from 12 till 2 we've been running a community media information point. Lots of other workshops that have been going on all week. Yesterday I was the external facilitator for the political correctness workshop, and this afternoon there's been a workshop as well run by Julian around mine apples and mental health. We've had quite a few people come in and find out about what we do. We've had all of our equipment laid out here today, and also a nice photo display whizzing around. As I said, it's Equality and Diversity Week, so what I want to do is I want to bring in Julian Harrison now to answer a couple of questions. How are you doing, Julian? Okay.
Hi, mate, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks very much for coming. So tell us a little bit about the motivation behind doing the week here.
Well, it's something that's become an established part of the annual calendar, really, that in November we do something to promote equality and diversity, more than we do ordinarily, of course, because it's something we promote all year round. But we've got in the habit of trying to do like a week's worth of different activities, and a combination, I think, of stuff that's geared towards internal people, members of staff, councillors and so forth, in terms of training, promoting awareness of various things, but also increasingly as well trying to bring people like your good self into the organisation. Tuesday we had a launch for British Sign Language charting, which we had in this very room, 100 plus people from Leicestershire's deaf communities, probably the first time they've ever been to County Hall, really, and it was as much an honour to host them and to get them to see what goes on here, as hopefully it was for them in terms of coming in and having a look. So we try and get that balance between internal stuff, but also increasingly now trying to bring outside people in just to see what we do, and obviously as well for likes of you to promote to our staff what you do, because I think that's as important, if not more so.
Now, in the workshop yesterday we were talking to Danny from the Black Workers Group, and we were talking to Andrew from the LGBT Workers Group, and then we were talking about things like sexism, and we also talked about disability and the Paralympics. That was quite an interesting conversation. Yeah. And really a lot of that came out of things like political correctness. People have heard of it, don't necessarily know what it is, and it's a bit like Marmite, you either agree with it or you don't. And it's a bit like community cohesion as well. People know it's there, they're not quite sure what it is, and they either think it's a good thing or they don't. Yeah. But what came out of the conversation was it's all about you as the individual. You have the ability to change people's perceptions about your community or where you're from, but also you have a responsibility to make sure that you talk to other people and understand where they're from as well. And do you think something like Equality and Diversity Week, even though you do it all year, it's still really good to be able to put these things on?
I think sometimes we overcomplicate things, both in the language that we use. We see it a lot of the time in terms of the strategies and all the sort of policy documents and stuff that we put forward. And in actual fact, community cohesion is a very basic, very simple context. I just call it big mate, good mate syndrome, really. It's as simple as that. It's about getting on with your fellow human being, recognising the differences that we all have, loving the differences that we all have, and getting people to engage and talk. And you just have faith in human beings, mate, don't you, at the end of the day? It's the same with political correctness, because with that there comes respecting other people, not to offend them. And if you just get to know people, like you and me are mates, and I've been mates for a good long time, I know how to offend you, but I wouldn't want to do it, would I? Because you're a mate, and I think that's on. Perhaps I do sometimes as well. But at the end of the day, it's about actually getting to know people, what makes them tick, getting the best out of people, I think, and we have a lot of things that we need to learn, I think, because sometimes we do tend to overcomplicate things, and we need to get back to basics, such as the deaf community come in. They're very welcoming. We hope to reciprocate that. They're very accommodative. They recognise the effort that we've been trying to do. It's not been overwhelming what we've been trying to do. Just the basic thing, like talk to them, listen to them, and act on what they say.
It's good old-fashioned conversation, a bit like the community media cafe. Exactly ultimately, it still comes down to conversation. And your colleague Afsa Murphy, who's actually joined us here today, she was talking about the fact that yesterday what really came out of the whole thing was respect.
Yes.
Wasn't it? It's about having respect for people and
that's
stuff.
Right.
And really that's ultimately what the week's about, isn't it? Understand.
I think it is. I think it boils down to that. Everything to do with equality and diversity is about respect. It's about fairness. it's not about treating everyone the same, because you can't treat everybody the same. You know, if you were to try and make athletics accessible to people, you wouldn't tell everyone, right, you've got to be in a race with Usain Bolt. You know, would you? You know, you've got to be different, and you've got to treat people differently in order for them to have the same resources and the same opportunities. But that's about just knowing people, isn't it?
Are we back to common sense again?
I think we are. You know, if you were, I think when I try and deal with community goals, we just think back to something basic, like if you were inviting people into your own home, right, and you knew who you were inviting, you'd do some preparation, wouldn't you? You'd ask them, is there any things you don't eat? Faith-wise, are there any things you can't eat? You know, what sort of topics, you know, what sort of conversation things there are, just so that people, when they come into your home, have got, you know, some commonality with different people, feel comfortable and all the rest of it. And you're respecting the differences. If somebody doesn't eat meat for some reason, that's fine, you prepare something else for them. It's as basic as that. And I think, you know, we tend to lose a lot of those basic channels of conversation. And really, they're very easy. You know, the community, you know, the media cafes is the perfect example. It's an informal thing. People come, they get the best out of it, people from different backgrounds, different expertises, different fonts of knowledge and so forth. And it's just about people getting on and improving yourself as an individual, but doing it with other people. That's the bottom line.
Well, Julian, thank you very much for agreeing to host us this week, and also
you're
to
very
AFSA.
welcome,
So if you're interested, have a look at the website. It's www.citizenseye.org, or find out about what we do here in Leicester. Maybe come down and visit as well. Thanks very much.